Hello. Hello. Gonna sound like Mrs. Doubtfire, right? We got our Awaken. Yeah. All right. We're gonna have fun, right? Right? We're gonna have some fun. That's what we're gonna do. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I said good morning. People are like, what's so good about it? Well, you're alive, you're breathing. And this might be the day where that might be a challenge. You never know. Anybody in here? Oh, we got a few people in here. Awesome. Awesome. This will not be a long live feed because I got to skedaddle here in about 20 minutes. So for those here like, I can't believe Steve's annoyingly going live too much. This won't be a James Best, you know, I'm going to do this for 3 hours kind of thing. Trust me. Trust me. I'm in a fairly decent mood despite the circumstances of 50 cents a mile. Yes, I said 50 cents a mile. I'm not running for 50 cents a mile. But if you do some math on some of these loads, that's what it would be if you took it. As you follow me on Facebook, probably saw my posts. I want to thank Right Lane for sending me that picture green shot of the Uber. So, how's it going? We are here in beautiful Arkansas, and I mean that. That is not sarcasm. And see, we'll do some shout outs as soon as I can find where we're at here. Yeah, I'm looking like a gangster. What an idiot. Alright. Let's see. Next Gen, Grafton, Chasing America. Good morning. Pigtail, Mono, John Reynoldson. Good morning. Scott. Good morning, sir. Provost. Shaka. Or no, that's the Hawaiian. Not sure. RD Trucking. Good morning. Hello, everyone and family. Be safe. Don't forget about the tire guy that keeps you guys rolling. It says Lucky 7 Mud Mowers. Little Wagon Coach. Good morning. We are awakened. And well, you know, I think this live feed stuff is good for some anxiety. It's good to talk with your friends in times like these. And between hurricanes and tornadoes and 80-cent a mile load, bananas, it's kind of a fun situation we're in. Fun's a good word, isn't it? Isn't that a positive spin on it? I got a load that picks up and delivers today after I deliver this one. And the rate for this week isn't bad. And I've done more parking than driving, so, you know, what are you going to do? Thomas Wilson says, start over. No. No, Thomas. Tell us how you feel about Johnny Sacco. Little Viking Coach. Johnny Sacco does not trigger me. because Johnny Sacco has been blocked on my channel. I like the guy. I met him in person at the Pet Show in Joplin. He's an alright dude. I think there are personalities out there that people will just argue. You tell them, hey, the sky is blue, and they'll argue that it's not. And I dated a gal once. Well, once I had a relationship with her for a year because I'm just into self-abuse like that. And she would do that. She would argue that the sky is not blue, right? But then she would argue with you so hardcore that she would believe it mentally. Like with all of her fiber. It's like bipolar. And it was crazy. But in the end, that relationship created a foundation of strength mentally for me that allowed me to endure and be able to prosper from a positive relationship, i.e. my wife, a different gal that I started dating afterwards, and I've been with her for 20 years now. So, Mike Tucker, what's up? So yes, I just compared Johnny Sacco to one of my psychotic exes. I amuse myself. Oh, and check this out. Kevin from Kevin and Ellie, he posted a picture of this. I think I'm gonna get this shirt. That is the best shirt ever. Operation Enduring Clusterfuck. Right. Next Gen, what'd you send me, Next Gen? Well, that's a lovely view. Good morning, sir. No, it's nothing offensive. He just, it's a picture of sunrise. Next Gen likes to send me before and after photos of myself. I think it's pretty cool, and I appreciate that. But okay, when it says 6:05, we got to start our pre-trip and all that, right? The place where I'm going to, I don't think they open till 7, so I don't want to get there too early. And I'm like about 20 minutes away. Does your wife enjoy when you play guitar? Yes, so much so that she married me and then was in a band with me twice. Or 3 times. Yeah, I think she enjoys it. On the latest Apnea album, she played bass and has some vocals in there. I say latest because that album was put out 5 years ago. And then, little unknown fact, because no one probably cares, but I was also a drummer for a band called Backhoe Butchery. And I did their first 2 albums, and it consisted of me, my wife on bass, and a friend of mine on guitar and vocals, and he was also in Apnea, and he's also in the current band Sulk. So my wife hates when I play guitar on there, so does the cat and the dogs. I hear you, Artie. I hear you. Who's her favorite? Probably bass player in Nevermore, forget his name. Doug Pinnick of King's X is one of her favorites. A couple of local guys that she really looks up to. Yeah, so Lamfell, Bastian, Hubler. Good morning. But yeah, so In fact, with this quarantine, she's actually picked up her bass a few times. Most times she's too busy. Well, a lot of times trying to squeeze a practice in once every 2 weeks is a little bit difficult. That Saturday night live feed I did, that was probably the first time I've touched a guitar in quite a while. I'm not the guy that can sit there and practice for 8 hours, which is why I'm not that great. It's hard to find that time, but there was one time where I was in 3 bands at one time. I was in a band, I was doing drums for Backup Butchery, guitar vocals for Apnea, and then bass for a band called Forever Shadows. And I enjoyed that because, you know, I didn't have to worry about being a vocalist. I wasn't the band leader in that band, and I'm a decent bass player, I guess. I'm more like a Jason Newsted kind of, you know, use a pick. I don't do the finger bass thing. And it was fun, and I had a good bass. I'm a big fan of Ibanez basses. I'm not into the big Fenders like what Steve Harris from Iron Maiden uses. I'm not into that at all. Hey, the two of y'all should do a jam session one night. One of these days, Thomas Wilson, we'll do a live jam with the whole band. I don't know how that would sound though with the distortion and the drums and stuff, but we got to get the band together, and that's been a challenge for me here lately. Because the biggest challenges of having a band, being a truck driver, is when I'm home, it's tough to, it seemed like it was tough to allot a 2-hour window on a Sunday. You know, our other guitar player, he works a third shift. And then our drummer, his situation at home requires him to, you know, we're not out there to be the next rock star or nothing. You know, we're all homeowners, responsible adults with families and responsibilities, and, you know, it's just more for fun. So we don't, vocals is where I shine. Chasing America, I never had ambitions early to be a vocalist, but at the time that I started my first thrash band called Ill Fader, how high school sounding is that? I was the only one out of the 4 of us that could coordinate playing and singing at the same time. Well, singing, vocalizing. And then I just got good at it, and then I got better at it. And then once I got better at it, then, you know, and I have a way to be able to speak to people in public, so. All right, Lucky 7 Mud Mowers, we appreciate you. Red Pepper, good morning. So, Thomas Wilson, if you go to Bandcamp, type in Apnea 1. That's important because there's other apneas out there. Apnea 1, download all my music, and you're going to hear my wife on some of those tracks on vocals, and then she plays bass on the latest album, The Great Ruiner, and she actually wrote some of the lyrics on that album too. Let's see here. Let's turn on this GPS. There's like 58 lights where I'm going, so I gotta time this correctly. I'm only like 10 miles away, and Ryan, what's up? Welcome out. Good morning.
Please drive to highlighted route.
Okay. Let's see here. So if I leave now, I'll get there at 6:18. So 6 minutes for 7 miles. All of you old school, I hate GPS guys, you're silly. I'm old school. I love the GPS. Sometimes I hate the GPS. But to give me the ETA is huge. Huge. Because an uneducated person that doesn't know the area might say, well, I'm only 7 miles away. It shouldn't take me that long to get there, right? Not realizing that there's 53,198 traffic lights between here and there. And therefore creating a 7-mile trip that takes an average of 30 miles an hour to get there. Pale Rider said real truckers don't use a GPS. Well, I once saw a video. This guy had a cab over, and he said that computers have no place in the truck, GPSs have no place in the truck, nothing electronic. You shouldn't even have your cell phone. He literally said that. I'm like, how do you run a business without a cell phone, laptop? And how do you find stuff? Because no one answers the phone anymore. There are places that you Google and it's a dirt lot because it's so brand new, right? So how do you know which entrance? Get directions. And there was one time I called, this is years ago. There was one time I called the customer. I said, hey, I need directions into your place. And he said, we are not allowed to give directions. So I am sorry. Click. My dispatcher got an earful with that one. I said, you know what? Take me off this load. I'm going home. And I was in New Jersey. I was so frustrated. Finally, an hour later, I find the place. And, yeah. And then they griped at me for being late. Like, if your guy had given me directions, I wouldn't have been late. Idiot. This is before the Googles ruled the world, so. Scott, the truck driver, back in the truck. Oh, is he? But just kind of regretting that. Pale Rider said, oh yeah, I already read that. So, alrighty. So let's start our perk chip. So, it goes for 82 cents a mile. What's your limit? What's your limit? Anyways, are you awakened yet? Have you enjoyed your morning coffee? Let's get the truck to operating temperature. Lug nut, back when I trained, we couldn't, the GPS to this day always mapped out things first. Right, well, here's the thing. I believe of using the best of both worlds. I believe in the old school, map it out, but I also believe that technology is a wondrous thing that you can utilize. And I would teach my trainees how to map their trips. I used to keep a notebook next to me that would write down, like, before I left. This is before I knew the country as much as I do now. And I still do it if I run into an area. Like, if I was to go to Salt Lake, blah, 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 you're going to find whatever, and that way, if the GPS went down, I was okay. Because at one point, but I also taught my students how to be GPS savvy. For you old timers that suddenly want to use a GPS, you've got to know that there are elements of the GPS you have to ignore. There are elements of the GPS you can't trust, even though it's a truck routing GPS. So that's important. And because the GPS will screw you just as easily as it'll help you. And so you got to be GPS savvy. You got to no, that's not right. And the worst thing you can do is trust the GPS blindly. Now, I still have my Atlas within reach. I still have to open it up every now and then. But here lately I haven't, because I've been running the same spots. And so I believe in training both styles. And my dad taught me a lot about mapping. That's one of the things that he did teach me about trucking, was the mapping. He had me paying attention to mile markers and signs, and And that was an exercise I used with my students. Was I would have them read every sign that we saw. You know, there's nothing wrong with using a GPS, but the best tool I like the most is the real-time Google Maps, because then you can kind of get an overview of where everything's at, and you can see traffic and all that. So. Anyways, we got kind of a small crowd in here tonight. I appreciate you, or today. Appreciate you. The place where I'm delivering, I will not believe my appointment is at 10:30 to pick up. I'll just show up early. I got a map where I'm going there too. I think it's literally like 2 blocks down. And then and then I'll be back at this truck stop because I don't deliver till 4 o'clock. And last time I was there at the customer even an hour early, they're like, yeah, you got to turn around. You got to go. You got to leave. And, but I think I have a strategy for that. I just read Ford is testing wristbands that vibrate when you get within 6 feet of a coworker. That's incredibly stupid. A paper atlas, right? I need a new atlas actually. Drinking Cafe Bustelo. I've never had that. I see that in the stores. Is that pretty good? I imagine it's good. Is it better? How good is that, Larry? Oh, let's see. Rat on the Jippus. It's 30. We'll give it about 5-10 more minutes. Let's try shot callers next. Blue Line Coach, I hear you, man. Just, it's so wild, this whole virus thing that like, there's more and more absurd things coming out every day, and you're just like, what the hell? What the hell? It's 26 degrees. That's crazy in and of itself. Has an intense, though good flavor. I need to buy me some more Cafe Ultra. That's what I need. Rise and shine, says Jesse. Rise and shine. South Georgia Indian Rider. Black Rifle Coffee is my go-to, all the flavors. I had some of that in the truck. I had the Thin Blue Line, I think is what I had. That wasn't bad. There's one store in town that carries it, and they're kind of like just for men. It's like a men's, like you buy cigar. I took James Best and Harold there when they were in Springfield, because they have a humidor and all that, and so they got all the hats and stuff, and they had Black Rifle Coffee, and I ended up buying some there. But that store is obviously closed because it's not essential. How often should you get a new Atlas? A couple of years? Yeah, Grafton, I go about every 3 years. Just depends on the areas that you're running. There are some changes. They're not as fast as you think they are, but every 3 years, 2 or 3 years. La Colomba coffee is fantastic, says Truck Josh. But I think the one I got here is 2000. Well, it doesn't have the year. And I buy the large scale. So you never know when you have to pick it up real quick and look at something. Which I don't recommend doing that. That's why I always told my trainees, always have the Atlas with them if you need to. Anyways, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Be strong. grateful. Today's another day. People are getting restless. Once they can shop, the stores will be packed with people. Loads will be in high demand, so hopefully the rates increase too. Larry, I agree, except that I saw an article today that China, people are kind of afraid to go shopping right now. So, but yeah, the natives are restless. They are restless. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We'll probably go live like 15 more times today if I can't find the low, because that's what calms the nerves, right? Anyways, guys, take it easy. See you.